Hey Parvati. How are you guys? Here is very cold, so if you see me like wearing a lot of clothes, I know that most of you are enjoying summer and probably like, going through a very hot summer, but in here is the totally opposite. So yeah, so don't mind me if you see me like fully clothes. Here it's freezing. Okay. This is how I'm going to do this series. I'm going to be dedicating like the first part of the live to talking a bit about the new genes moon signs, since they are minors and I cannot be pulling tarot cards for them. I don't do it. I don't read for minors. But I was thinking that maybe we could talk a bit about their astrology placements, and the moon sign is very important. It's very special. So yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to end the live, and I'm going to start all over, and I'm going to dedicate that live to pulling cards because I do have some people. I do have a list of tarot readings, so I'm going to divide the live. So yeah, if I do end this one, I invite you to join the new one. So we can focus on the tarot readings. If you are interested more in the tarot reading part and not so much the astrology, you can choose. And also, it's going to be available on my channel, different videos, so you don't have to wait a lot till you get to the part where I talk about, tarot. So yes, I have this New Jeans 5 members. So I think that in astrology, for me, the moon sign is very important because it represents the emotional side of the person, not so much what they show on the exterior, what you show to others, what others can see of you. The moon sign talks a bit more about what's hidden, your emotional needs, also maybe what triggers you emotionally, your reactions, your why you need to feel safe, how you express yourself with others in a connection, how you are with your loved ones. Probably the moon sign is an aspect that you can see it displayed more if you have like a sort of confidence, like you have a sort of like familiarity with that person. But in the case of idols, since they're always on camera, probably there's people that, that are able to see it. In the case of new genes, it's very, I think that despite of them having different moon signs, is a sort of a nice coincidence that all of them are Venusian. They all of them have sun signs except for Danielle. Danielle is a Neri sun, but most of them have sun in Taurus and in Libra. So there's this very strong Venusian. So I think that also, if we think about new genes and their appeal and their styles and what people feel when they see new genes, when they see the members. And here we're not talking about appearances, no, what makes them attractive, because we are minors, they are minors, so I don't want to talk about them in this sort of object way. But these girls are the representation of beauty. Like when you see them, you see probably all the members, you see them very harmonized, you see them very beautiful. effortlessly beautiful. Like there's something about them, probably, since they're very young, they're also their style and the person that created the group and sort of like wanted to create these very young teenage girls of a K-pop group. They actually were very strategic. I don't know if they know about astrology, but there's something about them being all ruled by Venusian signs that I'm like, wow, you really like you have a good eye for forecasting because all of them have this attribute. Even Danielle, so this is why I want to start with her because even though she's a sun in Aries, she does have moon in Taurus. So she sort of like inside, she could be a bit much more of the different of the group. But I think that there's something that she has in common with all these Venusian girls, the other members, is that her moon is in Taurus. And the moon in Taurus, it's because I know people that are Aries and have moon in Taurus, and there's something about that specific moon being very soothing to the Aries energy, to the Aries reactionary, Martian, aggressive kind of nature. Usually Aries sun people, especially females, they tend to be a bit more like sort of a tomboy. But when there's an Aries sun with the moon in Taurus, there's a sort of soft side, and they are a bit more, much more patient. They are a bit more, like, they have more patience with others and with themselves. Like they can look like an Aries, have all the attributes, but the moon in Taurus, it's a very important placement because the moon in Taurus is considered to be in its domicile. So the moon feels very comfortable with the Taurus sign in it, just like it would be like a moon in Cancer, that the moon in Cancer, since the moon rules Cancer, there's a sort of correspondency. So people that have moon in Cancer are much more genuine when it comes to being emotional. In the case of moon in Taurus, it's all about like appreciating your emotionality and also like feeling emotions, but through like transform it into something more like soft and enjoyable, and focusing on the here and now, calming yourselves down, being very nice, being very thoughtful to others, being very beautiful as well, being a sort of like being very loyal. There's something about the Taurus nature in the moon sign that definitely talks about being loyal, being consistent, being very persevering, like slowing down. And I think that that's a good moon sign for an Aries person, because Aries is always like thinking like, okay, what do we do next? Like, okay, like I have to go, I have to do things, I have to be more, I'm always anxious. So when you are a moon in Taurus, you sort of like slow down, you're like, okay, I need to take a break. I need to breathe, I need to center myself. And when I find myself in situations where I can enjoy, like having a good meal, being in a comfortable place, like, wearing things that makes me feel beautiful. Usually the person with the moon in Taurus tends to, be more connected with their body as well. Not getting so angry, not getting so like, of course that when they get angry, they can get angry, because in the case of Danielle, we are talking about an Aries sun. She is an Aries sun. So there's going to be parts of her where you're going to see that definitely probably it's not that she's faster than others, but it seems like she's much more like authentic. There's something about idols that are fire signs. There's something about the way they look at you, the way they look at others. the move they make, everything that they do is all about like being authentic. Like it's not that polished. Sometimes they can have their moments of being very honest, sometimes brutally honest. In the case of Danielle here with the card of Moon in Taurus, that's what I was referring to. The Moon, the keyword is exaltation. So there's this sense of the Moon in Taurus feeling very comfortable with being emotional, and actually not getting that annoyed, not getting that excessively emotional, just like centering themselves and enjoying the here and now, and somehow like seeing beauty in the now, in the present. Exaltation, it's all about like, okay, anything is a possibility, I need to relax, I need to center myself, and the now is perfect. Where I am now, where I'm feeling with my body, where I'm feeling with my emotions is perfect. The Moon in Taurus feels very comfortable with being emotional. Like they don't feel it like, oh my God, like I feel like I'm out of control. No, not at all. The Moon in Taurus is more like, okay, yeah, I have some emotions, but I also have my systems, my routines, my style to somehow slow things down and take one thing at a time. And I take my moment and I reflect on it, and I don't let people rush me. I'm very observant and I don't freak out. I think that one of the many traits of a Moon in Taurus is that they don't freak out. It takes a lot actually for them to actually be like, oh my God, this is like unbelievable. They sort of maintain this posture, this very stable posture of the Taurus energy that is like, okay, let's just sit here for a minute and smile. like let's not, get agitated emotionally. And they also don't like to feel that people are playing with their emotions. When they like someone or when they value someone, they don't like, these people that make them feel uncomfortable, or nervous. They are like, no, if you are if you're one of my favorite people, and if you are my friend or if you're my family, I need to see consistency from you. Like, I need to know that you will be there. I need to know that we have this sort of like history between us. It takes a while for them to actually like consider someone a friend, someone that they care about. It takes a while for them, but once they choose you, you are their person forever. But the Moon in Taurus, it's all about like not rushing the emotionality. This Moon doesn't freak out. And I think that in the case of Danielle, since she is surrounded by all these Venusian girls, the other ones are Libra, Tauruses, so there's something about if she didn't have this Moon in Taurus, she would feel very, very awkward next to them. Like sort of feeling like, it's not just about appearance that I am different. It's also about the way I feel. Like Aries, sometimes women that have Sun in Aries, they do not have the delicacy. They do not have the patience. They do not have the sort of elegancy, of a Taurus person or a Libra person. But just the fact that she has this Moon in Taurus, definitely it makes her belong. She emotionally belongs and feels very much like the rest. And also her Moon feels very seen when she's surrounded by them, because all of them represent how she feels inside. So there's something about her feeling at home when she meets people that have these Venusian traits, like meeting Taurus people, meeting Libra people. There's something about the other girls also representing this energy that she's like, oh wow, I recognize that inside I also feel like them. That I also take my time, that I could get angry, because she's a sun in Aries, so there's also this inner nature of her just wanting to do things faster and doing more and just being maybe a bit louder, but her moon in Taurus is like, no, adapt, slow down, like, be graceful, be elegant, like connect with pleasure, connect with enjoying things, enjoy being yourself, and look pretty. Like, be able to also see the beauty in others. A moon in Taurus feels very much like emotional when they see other people's beauty. So it does make sense that there's something about her features also being very soft, being very like doll-like. But I think that it's actually, it does amaze me when it comes to astrology birth charts, when it comes to idols or groups. There's something that for me as an astrologer or someone that loves astrology, because I don't see myself as an expert on astrology, but since I've been studying it for so long and seeing this group as this sort of like this accumulation of Venusian beauty, Venusian energy everywhere, like all of them have it, I'm like, wow, who choose these people? Because I think that I would choose it if I would be like an astrology consultant. I would be like, yeah, choose these girls, like this one, this one, this one. But it's amazing how they were chosen, and everything about them sort of reminds us of beauty. And something about these girls and the group and the identity of the group and the style of the group is also about talking about beauty and talking about Venusian things, but not from a vulgar kind of place, not from a place of being like, oh, they are so beautiful, like they are so beautiful, like I will get obsessed with because they are beautiful. No, they sort of remind you of this beauty that is so perfect or is so subtle, it's so soft that you just feel touched, emotionally by looking at them. You're like, oh my God, these girls are beautiful. But not beautiful in the sense of like, wow, they are attractive like sexually, no, they are the representation of beauty and a bit of innocence at the same time. When you see something beautiful, that you are like, you can admire them from a distance, and it doesn't get weird, nor creepy, nor like raw, like that kind of beauty that is like aggressive even. No, there's something about New Jeans, you've been like, oh, these girls, all of them are visuals, or all of them are classy, or all of them are so beautiful, but you see it from a place of respect. Like when you admire a picture, your mind admire a painting from afar. And you're like, okay, this that I'm watching is beauty. This is beauty. But I don't feel like, oh, this is beautiful, but this is like, oh, like this is beautiful, and like you feel the need to get closer to the beauty and know more and observe more and consume more. No, there's a sort of distance. It's like when you admire something so beautiful and so pure that you just maintain that distance. And this is, from my astrological point of view, I think that this is because of these planets. And I know that there's also the factor that they are very young, that they are very young. And also But we had idols that were young, anyways, and they were sexualized, anyways. But in this case, I think that if they do things right, which I've seen that they have been doing, taking care of the girls' aesthetics, taking care of sort of promoting this sort of very ethereal beauty and sort of effortless beauty. Because when you have these girls that they are all Venusian, you sort of have to take it slow. And if you, for example, if you want to dress them, if you want to put them accessories, or if you want to exalt their beauty, you have to do it in a very gentle way. You cannot put dark colors or just a lot of accessories that are for the eye are just too much, too bright, too strong, too glittery. You have to do it in a very gentle way. Because the girls actually could present themselves without makeup on, and you would be like, this is beautiful. It definitely takes my breath away just admiring them. There's something about the Venusian members, you have to admire them, but from afar, and maybe with time, once they get older and more experienced, in their careers, maybe you will see another side of this beauty. But you will never forget the first pictures of them, or the first style that they wore, the first MV, the first time you saw them, because there's something about their beauty that is sort of attached to their innocence. And I believe that from the spectator point of view, is this sort of group that you don't want to interrupt this moment of admiring the girls and being like, the members are beautiful, yes, but they're also very young. So, the concept of beauty will evolve, and you probably, because they have different moon signs and risings and other placements, you will see each one of them develop a bit more, stronger, sort of but they all have the base that they all remind you of beauty. They all remind you of art. So I think that this is also very important, because this is not a sort of beauty or a sort of influence that they have that you feel like, okay, I have to have them, or I have to, consume everything that they do. This is not about you getting obsessed with the girls because of their beauty. This is about you being present, enjoying their music, enjoying their identity, enjoying what they look like, but with respect. And also taking it slow. Because all these placements that they have is all about their soft nature of I'm an idol, but I'm here to take it slow. So now I'm this age, and now we are in this concept, or we are in this period. Do not rush us to get into more evolved concepts, or older girls subjects, or to talk about subjects that are for older people, because we are actually living the moment. And the moment is that, we are teenagers. So we are going to show you the beauty of being a teenager, the beauty of youth. So, Then we have one of the members that is a Libra sun, continuing with the Venusian, influence. She, from what I saw, she has a Libra stellium. She is Honey, I believe. Her name is Honey. But her moon is in Cancer. In here we have the card of friendship, that the keyword is friendship, moon in Cancer. I I think that this girl, Honey, um, she also is beautiful. We know it. She's a Libra, so very balanced, beautiful, very romantic. But also the moon in Cancer, I can definitely see her like probably eventually with time. I don't know her age, but she could be like the sort of like the mother of the group, because a moon in Cancer, this is what they do. They sort of like become this very nurturing support, emotional support of the group. And I think that her moon, here with the card of friendship, is about to be this sort of like person that is like the nucleo. She brings everyone together. She's like the mother. This is why like I could see her like being like, okay guys, let's be friends. And also herself being a Libra sun, she always is going to think about others. She's always going to be like, okay, the girls and I, me and the girls, always like about, let's be together. For me, it's important for me to feel special, like for me to feel okay emotionally. I need to have my girls, I need to have the group, I need to have us together, and I definitely see her like being very, like also very intuitive, very sensitive to the other members' emotional needs, and being like, okay, like what's going on with you? What do you need? I'm here to listen to you. Whatever you need, I'm going to go get it for you. Being very helpful, being very emotional, probably being a bit of a crybaby. If she gets emotional about something, crying. But yes, very wise when it comes to her emotions, and probably like being like, like this is, for me, it's important that the other girls know that I care about them, and I want to help them, and everything. So yeah, very, like also with the friendship, like for her, I think that it's not just about being together and working in a group. She wants to be friends. She wants the girls to bring the girls closer, and she needs that emotional connection. A water moon always needs to feel like they can trust that person, that they really have a bond, an emotional bond. For her, it's going to be very, very important in that sense. Then we have two members that they share the same placements in Sun and Moon. We have Minji and Herin. Both of them are Sun in Taurus and Moon in Sagittarius. Optimism. So yeah, both of them are Sun in Taurus. So again, we connect with the Venusian side of Taurus. How it's sort of a correspondency, because Danielle is also like is a Moon in Taurus. So there's a lot of correspondency between these girls. But yeah, even though they are Tauruses, they are Sun in Taurus, their moon in Sagittarius is like, okay, like let's do this. Like probably emotionally they are a bit much more curious, a bit much like optimistic, much more visionary, being much more like talkative, and feeling just excited overall in being there. Sometimes when you have Sun in Taurus people, they tend to be like very slow, very quiet, and they take their time to make decisions. Well, since these both members, they have the card of optimism. They have the placement of Sagittarius, and Moon in Sagittarius. There's something about them being very excited, just very happy. Like sort of happy virus. Very excited, also very honest, very straightforward about their emotions. Maybe sometimes being too straightforward, being like too honest. Sometimes even when they feel emotional, they probably do talk a lot, or they say a lot, and then sometimes it's a bit exaggerated what they say. But just like any moon in fire sign, there's also a sort of need for the truth. Sort of like, yeah, we are all Venusian, we're all beautiful, we're all patient, but I do have my moments where I have to tell you how I feel, or I have to let you guys know that we need to get going, or I'm feeling excited and I want to try something new. Like, or if I see that all of them are sort of like, just there, just like chilling. And the moon in Sagittarius is going to be like, come on, let's go, let's do more, let's be wild, let's be funny. Come on, let's make this funny. Like, I want to laugh, like I want to be mischievous, like I want to explore. Very very intelligent girls, also very curious. And it's very interesting that both of them have the same moon. That probably I don't remember their birth dates, but maybe if they are born in the same year, because they basically have the same. The sun and the moon are in the same place, in the same placement. So there's something, about them also sharing this sort of optimism and being, probably, being this duo, being very, like, very happy, very excited. And sometimes when you see a Taurus girl, they tend to be a bit shy, and a bit like, oh, like, and I think that them being moon in Sagittarius, I can definitely see them like breaking free from that, initial sort of like first impression that you have of them being shy or being a bit like, oh yeah, I don't talk that much, I'm very quiet. And actually with the moon in Sagittarius, with time, you eventually seeing them like become much more confident and become, also like there's something about when you have a placement in Sagittarius, it's all about expansion. So, them being a bit of like expansive and also like sort of gaining attention to themselves, and you'll be like, wow, like I didn't notice how much these members grew, for example, no? Because Sagittarius is also about growth, about expansion. So there's something about their characters. Maybe when they get a bit older, you're going to see them like becoming a bit more daring, like becoming a bit much more passionate, and them talking about things, and just like having fun, just being this very fun, uplifting personality. And not so much like, oh yes, I'm a Taurus sun, I'm slow and I take my time to get to know people and I don't take risk and I'm always the same, and I don't want to be bothered. I can see that these two girls, Minji and Herin, being actually very, like a very strong force in the group. Definitely you will notice them. They will not go, without noticing them. And then I have the Magne, that the Magne is a Sun in Taurus. Yeah, she's a Sun in Taurus, but her moon is in Scorpio. Yeah, I believe she's the youngest one. She's the youngest. So in total we have three Tauruses. Three Tauruses, one Libra, and an Aries Sun. So yeah, also a Hyejin, the Magne, beautiful, Taurian, very stable, very hardworking, like the whole representation, physical representation of the Venusian, Taurus, Taurian female. But her moon in Scorpio, here with the moon in Scorpio placement, we have the card of power. The keyword is power. So I think that there's something that definitely could differentiate Hein from the rest, despite her being the youngest. There's something about her being a bit much more magnetic. Possibly when she gets older, people are going to notice her changes. She's going to transform in front of the camera if they continue in the group. You're going to see the evolution of hers, and you are going to there's something about her, being very different from the other Venusian girls. Because the Scorpio placement is always there to somehow take the power, and take your attention somehow, Scorpio is the opposite of Taurus. So, in her personality, there's always going to be this duality, this sort of push and pull between, oh, I'm so calm, I'm so patient, I'm so sweet, I'm so quiet of Taurus. And then you have her moon sign that is much more emotional and volatile. So there's something about her, like, let's see how she connects with these very strong feelings, intense experiences when it comes to how she feels. You know, maybe she gets upset about something, or maybe she sort of sees something and she doesn't like. She's not going to let it go easily. Being very competitive, you know, being very intense. And also with the moon in Scorpio, I actually can see, you know, certain fans actually becoming a bit obsessive with her, you know, and since she's so young, she probably at the beginning not knowing how to deal with people's intensity, you know, because sometimes Scorpio placements, what it does is that you are a sort of magnet to others' intensity, you know, especially when you are so young. It's like, I don't know if people feeling very attracted to her or people wanting to know more about her. You know, there's something about her with being just this quiet Taurus person, you know, and just like having these people fixated on her, you know. So she will have to take care of herself. She will also need a place and a time to talk about how she feels, you know, because the moon in Scorpio, they usually tend to keep everything bottled inside, like not talking so much about what bothers them, and then eventually they explode, you know. So she will have to work on this, you know, on this intensity. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting because, you know, she has this sort of like opposite influence, you know. She's a sort of like, she could be a sort of like you know, like a polarization in her own person. There's two people, you know. There's the Taurian nature that, oh yeah, everything is okay, you know, yeah, I'm okay, I'm doing fine, and inside of hers there's this moon in Scorpio that's like pushing. It's like, no, you're not okay. You're actually feeling like this today. Or you got upset, or you got your feelings hurt, and you are not going to let it go that easily. You know, and also with the card of power, there's something about her also being very intuitive, just like any water placement. A water moon is intuitive in nature. It's very intuitive, you know, it's very much like a good observer, you know, and it's very good about like seeing other people's secrets, you know. And also, since we have the keyword of power, you know, she could be potentially a good manipulator also. Like, she could actually change her whole life or plans if she wanted to, because she has the potential of becoming very powerful in the future. But yeah, I think that if the other girls are older, they will have to sort of guide her through these processes, because maybe she will have this, you know, this rush of emotions that you're like, oh my God, what happened to her? She looked just fine. And no, she got offended by something, or she didn't like something, and all of a sudden she's upset, or her face, it looks like she's angry, but she's not saying much. You know, it's a whole like, it's a whole experience. It's very challenging when you have like the sun and the moon in the opposites, you know, because you are sort of contradiction of your nature. You know, you're supposed to be a certain way, but then it depends on how you get triggered. It sort of reacts in different ways. So yeah, these girls definitely are, you know, are very, very equal. They're equals, but they also are very different. So they are in this life together. With all these placements, I believe that there's a lot of lessons for them to learn together. But definitely they will always be this beautiful experience for the fans or whoever is watching and admiring them. There's something about New Jeans. New Jeans will always be classy. New Jeans will always be beautiful. New Jeans will always be harmonic, you know, a very harmonious experience to the eyes, to the senses, you know. So whoever chooses this group and these members, I applaud them. I applaud them because definitely they, for me, energetically, they are the representation of beauty, delicacy, and also like accepting the now and accepting the girls for who they are now. Eventually they will grow older, eventually they will explore more, probably different sides of themselves. But you will always have this sort of memory of when they debuted. That is sort of like they slapped you and shook you with all the beauty, with all the Venusian energy that they have. They will always be that very fine art, of a girl group, They definitely are very harmonized together. So I'm going to pull one card to see about, how they can, all of them can like sort of expand and grow together with all these placements that they have. I'm going to pull a card as an advice, how they can grow together as a group and as individuals, and get along and probably work better for the dynamic. Yeah, they got the placement of Frine, that is called Frine and Sextile. Frine and Sextile is when you, in a birth chart, you sort of have a sort of correspondency between the planets that you have. You have them in a sign or an element that it's very compatible to yours. It can be in a different sign from yours, but for example, it's water and water, fire and fire. I don't know, they go well together. So definitely yes, because I see all these placements, they definitely are in sextile with each other. And they form a trine. And the key word is symbiosis. I don't know how it's pronounced in English, but in here it's called symbiosis. And it talks about, the possibility of you meshing your energies together, like sort of fusion, like make a fusion of all your different energies and become one. I think that as long as they always connect, and I believe they can do it because their Venusian influence is so strong that I think that ever since they were created, they will always like function in this very Venusian vibe of like, okay, what we have in common. And also it happens to be their strengths is that they have all these Venusian placements. That there's a lot of Taurus influence, there's a lot of Libra influence. So, there's also like, they have like sort of fire sign and fire moon. They have water signs, water moons in the sense of, for example, you have Danielle that is the only fire sign in the group, but you also have two members that are fire moons, that have moon in Sagittarius. So there's a sense of, sextile, trine, correspondency, symbiosis. Then you have, for example, you have Hani, that is the only one that has a moon in Cancer, that is a water moon, but then you have Hien, that Hien is a moon in Scorpio, it's also water placement. So, there's a lot of correspondences among them. And also, there's the Libra Sun, that the Libra Sun is ruled by Venus, and you also have the other three members that are Tauruses. So the other Tauruses are also ruled by Venus. And then you have Danielle that is an Aries, but she has a moon in Taurus that is also ruled by Venus. So see, like they meet each other. They find each other in this sort of like, like trajectory of their placements. They eventually find each other and they do this symbiosis. So as long as they always work on what they have in common, and they put this energy together, I think that energetically they are going to be very successful. Like, I think that there's no need for me to talk about dynamics in here, dynamic as a group, because ever since they were formed, these girls were compatible. It's like they are the manifestation of their energies in different bodies. They are very similar. They probably look at each other and they know. So, I think that these girls, it's just amazing how compatible they are and how they mirror each other and how effortlessly they are like, for me, they're Venusian. For me, they remind me of Venus, beauty, all the way, beauty, art, um, harmony, like enjoying yourself, enjoying the experience of music, of art, of acting, of fashion. There's a lot of things that they do, and the funny thing is that they don't have to practice for this because they already have it in themselves. They have these signs, they have these birth charts, and they somehow make it work. So I don't know if this in this creator or this person that put them together, if they knew about astrology, if they saw their birth charts. I doubt it. But if the creative person was a very spiritual person, or she was like very intuitive, she definitely nailed it. She was like, because you could actually form a group with, for example, all the members having the same sun sign. You could do that. But there's a lot of possibility of this not being a success or them not being compatible. Sometimes for you to have a compatible and in a dynamic group or with a successful dynamic, there's no need for you to have the same sun signs. For example, I don't know, you have all of them are Aquariuses, or all of them are Pisces, or all of them are Tauruses. Like, if they were all the same sun signs, it wouldn't match. Because sometimes the moon sign, the Mars, the sign in which Mars is, it also indicates how they're going to get along with each other. And there are some signs that just because you are the same sign, it doesn't mean that you're going to get along with them. There's a lot of other factors when it comes to astrology. And I'm seeing this, that I don't know their whole birth chart. I don't know what date, what hour they were born. I don't go that far. But just analyzing their moon signs, I'm like, these girls are made for each other. I don't know. I think that whatever they're going to achieve together, they're going to do it effortlessly. And they're going to do it with such a grace that you're going to be like, oh, this is amazing seeing them. Like the beauty, not everything, not a single thing about them is rushed. Everything is like a slow process. It's like a flower, opening in front of you. It's like it has different facets, it has different stages, and you're like just, amazed by what you are observing. And you're like, wow. And you don't want to rush the process. You're not observing what they do as a group and being like, oh, I cannot wait till they turn 21 so they can do another concept. No, it's all about enjoying the now, enjoying what they give you now. And I think that's probably, this is one of these groups that the girls and what they promote and what they do is sort of stress-free. Like, you just enjoy what they do and you move on with your life. You don't get that very strong feeling of obsession. You can be a fan, but you are like, oh, I see that the girls are this. For example, we also talk about how young they are, their age. But definitely I can see like people being very respectful and being like, oh, I get it. They are young. So, I don't go crazy, or I don't see them that way. Because they don't have that factor of obsession. They are too sweet, they are just beautiful, and that's the experience that they can bring you. So yeah, I definitely. Yes, I'm talking about new genes. Actually, I just finished talking about new genes. And what I'm going to do now, since I finished, the moon sign analysis, I'm going to end this live and I'm going to take a break of 5 minutes. And then I'm going to connect again in another different live to pull the cards, because I do have a lot on my list to pull cards for different people. So I'm going to divide the live in two. So people that want to watch the New Jeans series, they can watch it, and then I will move on to another video, to another live, to continue with the tarot readings. So yes, thank you so much for joining to this one, and I'll see you in the next one in 5 minutes. So thank you.